Yep. Hey. All right, let me just send this off. And there we go. Hey, it's my first stream in. What the heck just happened there? Wait, what did I do? Wait, what? Okay, I don't actually even know what I just did. This is a new feature that I've never done where apparently you just lose everything. Let me just get this up and running. I had this nicely ready. Hey. Holy cow. Whoa, hey. Dude, good morning, everybody. Hey, dude, I'm so sorry. Dude, I haven't been on for so long. My voice got all jacked up. Hope you're feeling well. As you can tell, my voice still hasn't fully recovered. I forgot to go get water before all this, but hey, just wanted to say thank you, dude. Thank you, everybody, so much. I would like to say that this is truly very sweet of you guys to still be around. I know I haven't been on in so long. Thank you very much. All the subs. Holy cow. What am I going to do with that? What am I even going to do with that, dude? Guys, that's way too nice. Thank you. Happy you're back. Thank you very much. I appreciate to be back. Thank you, Cosmic Boots. Thank you, Rufio. Thank you, Foo Force. Glad to see you. Yeah, you know the voice is it's. My wife had some LPR. Yeah, she did. Oh gosh, what did she say? Hold on. Oh my gosh, I lost it, dude. You guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Very nice, dude. Foot long. Thank you, dude. You didn't have to do that. Thank you, Code Girl. Oh, I appreciate that. Code Girl Waiting Party. Thank you, Butt Picker. Thank you, Drinking Yogurt. Thank you, Sub Frequency. Thank you, Defy Self for the 20 gifted subs. Oh my goodness, there's too many people. It's been too long. Yeah, I know the beautiful wife, dude. Guys, you don't. I don't have anything up and running. Oh, come on, guys. You don't have to do this. Thanks, everybody. You know, I've been out for what feels like a month, and you know, it's very hard to have something happen to you and feel like you're losing something you've worked really hard for, but it has nothing to do with like how hard you're trying. Do you know what I mean? Or how much you're attempting to do the right thing. Do you know what I mean? And so it makes me really, really sad. Dude, guys, that's way too many gifted subs. Guys, you don't have to, honestly, you truly don't have to do anymore. You never lost these nuts on your face. Damn, I never did. Never did. Dude, guys, you didn't have to. I do really appreciate that. Never lose these nuts on your chin. And hey, YouTube, I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you guys too. You guys are very, very kind. Dude, your voice is better. No, my voice is not better. But I have gone to several doctors. I am going to be doing voice coaching from someone in LA here soon. And I probably have about, my guess is probably 4 to 6 months before I'm back. And so here's my general plan is that I'm going to try to make an offline React video once or twice a week. I'm going to try to make shorts once or twice a week. And I'm going to try to do the stand up once or twice a week. So that's what I got. But in the meantime, I'm building a little handheld game for my son. In the meantime, doing some CZ. Okay. Yep, doing some conversions, learning to draw transparent images, using a fun program to store images like this. Yeah, pretty fun. Dude, guys, thank you so much for all this. Thank you so much. I've done a lot of Elixir, moral of the story, coffee induced to screaming, while Vimmin gives you a break from Twitch. Yeah, I just didn't want that. You know what I mean? I really didn't want, honestly, I have never, this last like 3 weeks has been, I would say, top 3 hardest times of my life because I really love streaming. I really love reading articles and reacting with you guys and just talking about stuff. And then all of a sudden it's just like gone, right? Like that's hard. It's been hard, but I appreciate that. Oh, the device is an ES Play Micro 2, so it has 300 and some kilobytes of memory on it. We're gonna build a cool game. Welcome back. Oh, thank you. I haven't stopped watching you since. Dude, appreciate that, Yosh. I did see that brand new tier 1. I did. Guys, normally I would say thank you for all these gifted subs. I'm just trying not to use my voice for just saying thank you over and over again. Guys, you have no idea how much, you genuinely have absolutely no clue how much this means to me. There was I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there's a moment there where I'm like, I guess I have to give up streaming in YouTube. And that was hard, you know. Thank you, Pixel Error. Thank you, Dongalias Rice. You know, what happened? LPR. I just had no idea, right? I had no heartburn. I had nothing. I had no idea things were going wrong, right? So I didn't feel it. I just kept getting, things kept getting worse. Things kept just feeling worse and worse. We were so back. Thank you, Z. Dude, 73 months. I appreciate that. Onward and upwards. We're trying cash bag. What is that sound? Hey, should I create a little ES Play Micro? Should I create a small device that when you guys cheer or subscribe, it shows your name across it? I could probably do that. I assume that I can do WebSockets. If I can't, I know I can do a TCP connection. If I can do a TCP connection, I could fake a WebSocket connection and get a stream of stuff back. That should be pretty easy. Yeah. All right, everybody. Are you guys ready for the stand-up? Dude, guys, level 17 train. Chronic illness is so hard. Yeah. Yeah. So just so everybody knows, I had to change my diet. So I'm doing an anti-inflammatory diet. I predominantly eat blueberries, honey, red meat, and chicken breast and fish. I'm mixing in some sourdough, but I might drop that for a while and just stick with that. That tends to be the most anti-inflammatory diet you can be on. Dear Lord, yeah, dude, it sounds delicious. It's not delicious. Dude, there's nothing delicious about eating dude, Ryan Fleury. Oh my gosh. You didn't have to do that, Ryan. Dude, I appreciate you so much, man. I was just reading your dude, we're actually going to discuss one of your tweets today. Awesome diet. It's really not that great of a diet. You know, diets are great until you're forced to do them. Do you know what I mean? I thought red meat wasn't anti-inflammatory. It is anti-inflammatory. As long as you're on the, I can only eat what's it called? It's a high protein, low carb, lower fat diet. So the red meat I eat would be like top sirloin is what I can eat. Dude, guys, thank you so much again for the level 18 hype train. I hear that at level 69 LPR goes away. So, you know, just saying, guys, you guys can save me. Just quick 30,000 subs right now. Thank you, everybody. No skirt steak, no skirt steak. Can't have skirt steak, can't have ribeye. Carnivore made my LPR go away. Yeah, typically that's what people say. And I'm also, dude, I kid you not. Apparently, this has like huge ratings for being just the best for LPR. And so this stuff is, I'm at this one right here. This stuff's, it's delicious, but it's like $1 a gram. But apparently, eating Manuka honey is super high concentrate with the MGOs. Tons of reports of people saying their LPR went away with a teaspoon a day. So I do $10 teaspoons of honey. What else am I supposed to do, right? What's with the voice? Throat problems. The tower's still happening. The tower is still happening. Does it taste good? Yeah. Yeah. Cheaper than other things? Exactly. My general thought is that, like, dude, by the way, Monolith, my mono boys. Damn, guys. Guys, damn. Chameleon, dude, you guys truly don't have to do this. High protein, high fat, very low carb. Yeah. Exactly. So a lot of people, this is, so truly would like to say thank you. I haven't tested for EOE yet. So I don't even know, like, honestly, I don't even know what EOE is. Can you tell me what EOE is? Like the non abbreviated form? Because I'm glad to look into it. Try true, honey. Hi, YouTube Frog here. Please explain. Title, thanks. We will. Just 1 second. How's the health, sir? It's getting better, significantly better, but still. I do a so live view today. No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Dude, all these pieces of advice, very, very helpful. Totally down to look into anything. What is that? Totally down. Did Copilot just make up a link? The hell's that all about? All right, let me, here. There you go. I'll look into that. All right. Thank you, everybody. Dude, guys, everybody, I appreciate that. Let's get started. Thank you, everybody. Honestly, you guys have no bottom of my heart. Truly, thank you. I won't be talking anymore about the struggles. I just want to let you know. Stand up is going to be consistent now.
Is like chill with it, but oh, what's up?
What's up, winners?
Winners.
Look at this.
Oh, is he
it's
here?
a printf maximalist in our
The
midst,
printf
boys.
maximalist.
There's a printf maximalist on the on the loose.
Hello,
All right. All right, everybody talk for a second.
Hello.
No,
My name
Trash,
is
talk
Casey.
regular,
Oh,
dude,
yeah,
so
yeah,
he can do.
yeah, sorry,
He's
sorry.
trying to do levels.
Hello, or thank you, Trash.
Good. I'm
That's
good.
great.
I'm good.
Yeah, you gotta go like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll hit record now.
I got good headphones on too, so there shouldn't be any.
Nice. So there's not going to be crazy echo.
Hopefully, let me know if you hear it though, because these things are sucked to my head.
Keyboard.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
All right, hold on. I got to remember where we're at. There we go.
Are we live?
We are
Oh,
live.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're so live.
The other people couldn't see this because when I joined before, because you weren't streaming that, but I was doing like I was like
Oh, he was jamming.
I wasn't listening to anything. I just did that when I came on because I was trying to set a mood. I was trying to make it feel like it was going to get funky or something. I don't know.
I feel
I'm
the
not
mood.
sure it worked.
No, I'm feeling it already right now. I mean,
Okay.
I'm feeling pumped up.
I'm hoping that the chat is just like, and they're all,
They are.
You know
They're
what I
spamming
mean?
Cat Jam right now, Casey.
they're just like, yeah, man.
yeah.
They're loving you.
All the rest of the people here who were born in the 70s, all 6 of you, you can all like funk, you know, like Parliament. Anyone out there ever listen to Parliament? Anyone like trying to think of like 70s funk bands?
Dude, I
we
listened
don't
to
have
hours.
Parliament here.
Yeah,
That's why we fought a war.
we have a representation government with the House and the Senate, dog.
There was never a funk band called Senate, was there? Maybe that would have been funny if the bands, if Parliament had split up and made Senate and House. All right,
I thought that's where house music came from.
there you go. That's really good.
TJ is just so ready for them.
Yeah, you
Dude,
can tell
look
he
at-
hasn't had a chance to do a stand-up in a couple weeks.
I know. Only my wife's been hearing my dad jokes, and she's ready for me to be back on the stand-up. So
Prime, how is your voice doing?
It's doing that. It's doing okay. Honestly, I wish it was better. I'm taking a steroid. I'm on a bunch of antacids. I've had to change the diet.
Ah,
And now I'm kind of coming out on the other side. So now I have to slowly reduce the antacid. I have to
Gotcha.
sleep upright now.
so we're talking about some GERD situations.
It's
here.
not GERD, it's LPR, as far as we can
LPR,
tell.
okay.
I went to a
Okay.
doctor and he is just like, yeah, I have no idea. And so then
Okay.
my wife went on the internet and she's like, what's the most common reason people lose voice? And it's just like
Right.
LPR. And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, look at this. This is why people. Then we went to another doctor and the doctor's like, yeah, it's probably this. This is the most common thing people lose their voice for all the time. Have you seen anybody? I was like, yeah, I went to an ENT person. They're like, and what they say? And I was like, nothing. They're like, this is like the most common. Like when I say track and you say 400, you're like, yeah, that's a very common race. Okay, no one says
I see.
steeplechase. This is not some steeplechase of throat problems. This
Okay.
is very, very normal.
Well, if you want, we could do this entire stand-up NPR style. Like we could all be like, this is very interesting.
Bring the
Oh, I like
microphones
that.
very
I
close.
see what
like
was
that.
there on Twitter, and yeah, I was very upset about it too. Angry, actually, enraged. Yes,
filthy.
Yes,
The
yes,
filth on Twitter is just despicable.
I find it. I almost have to turn off the computer.
Trash is
That's
just
not,
trash
no
is
one
way
said
out of left field.
ASMR. We said NPR. I know they're two
Yeah,
different acronyms, but they're not the same thing.
Yes,
I like how
yes,
Trash's version of NPR is just random words.
Well, merch
Merch
clapping is it's
conflicts.
relative to the conversation. Speaking of which, you see Prime's overlay? Are we like getting official? Look, he has like topics.
I made that last night in Elixir.
It looks great. Is that Elixir? All that for like
Yeah, well, the thing
Nice.
is, are you ready for this? You guys ready
using
for this?
Phoenix or something?
I'm
Yeah.
ready, Prime.
Okay, hold on. Let me hold on 1 second.
It could use a little bit more CSS,
Oh,
maybe.
it could
but
use
like,
a lot of CSS. But there's actually right above it, there's a whole bunch of panel right there for me to delete and move forward and all that. I'm just literally just grabbing that.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of clever,
Look at
huh?
this guy.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
Elixir, more like Excel.
I literally threw it together in like 5 minutes because everyone's like, what are we talking about all the time? So I'm like, there you go. You can see it. When I press a button over here, it'll be updated. I used a little pub sub for that, TJ.
Ooh, nice. Proud of you.
Thank
Looks
you.
good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my first one. It's very bad looking. Like I'm not a design. Graphic design is my passion, as you can tell.
Yeah, it's
You
not
don't
your
have to
job,
tell
but
us.
it is your passion. I got it.
Hey, and also Casey, I've been doing nothing but a bunch of C++, but technically I only write it as C.
Wait, what? What happened to Elixir?
Well, I'm also doing Elixir, so I'm making a game for my
He's
boy.
doing nothing but C++, but he
Oh.
is doing Elixir, Casey.
Okay.
Keep
And
up.
my
Okay.
my boy uploads all of his assets through an Elixir site that shoots everything down into a GitHub repo. That I build it and create a manifest, and then inline all of the I inline all the bytes into
Okay.
some header files because I only have so much room, and then I have a little manifest for all the images. And so I'm going to make it. I still haven't done this part, but he's going to be able to plug it into the Raspberry Pi that's hosting the site. And it'll just say flash, and he can add more of the bad guys and hit flash, and they'll be automatically put into the game for him.
This
You
is
didn't
some
tell him the
hardcore
beginning.
stuff, Prime. This is some hardcore stuff.
Dude, the hardest part is I only have 114,000 bytes contiguous memory, so I can't even allocate the screen in 16 bits. So I have to do like just dirty rectangles all over the place and be like, okay, update this region, now update this region. Because if I don't, it just flashes a bunch. It's just like such a pain in the butt to not even have enough contiguous memory to highlight the or to have a single screen.
You kids today and your contiguous memory. When I was a boy, we had segmented memory. It's actually not true. I didn't program on the IBM PC hardly at all. I mean, I did a little bit, but when I was a boy, it was actually like
I did a little bit,
which had unsegmented memory. I mean, it had two types of memory, but it was unsegmented.
Well, can you just, instead of using words that we don't know what they mean, can you just say what it means?
Sure.
I was just pretending it. I was like, yeah, yeah, oh, dude,
Unsegmented
that's
memory.
crazy.
Oh yeah, memory that's just like everywhere. What does that even mean?
So on the
it's not
PC,
segmented.
well, this is a problem that you can immediately see. Let's suppose that your CPU only has the ability to deal with 16-bit values, right? Well, a 16-bit value only goes up to 64K. So what do you do when you want 128K? The answer is you use
JavaScript.
another register or something, right, to tell you a segment that you're going to be, using. So you go like, oh, this is segment 12 byte 43, and now we can get, you see what I'm saying? You got your head in your hands here. What did I say?
That sounds awful.
That's the original PC architecture. That's how that worked, and you can see it to this day. If you open up, say, a debugger and you look at, I realize that a printf maximalist would never open up a debugger
do
because
that.
what are they for? I don't understand. It's just a waste of everyone's time.
What's a magnet? I get it.
There you go. If you open up a debugger and you look at the register set, like you go like, what are the registers right now or whatever, right? You'll see segment selectors in there, like CS will be in there or things like that. That's what those are. They're holdovers for they still are used in this one esoteric way today, but they used to be that you actually had these segment selectors, and that's how you were like you'd like select different segments to do stuff.
CS for segment selector. Got it.
No, CS was for code segment originally, I think. I want to say. I don't remember what CS stood for.
So you have a code segment selector.
What you had was a couple different. So you had these.
I know
segment
CSS. I got you, Prime.
CSS too. I get this. This is
I
just
was
modern
there.
web, Casey. We all get this at this point.
Yeah, okay. Now we're following. So you tailwind that in the CPU, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I
sorry.
get
What
it.
I
I
meant,
get it
what
now.
I meant to
I
say
get it. I
was
get it.
CS.
Got it.
The CS stands for computer science, and anytime you were using data structures and algorithms, you used that segment. Yeah,
And they say CS isn't practical, like it's running everything.
I mean, basically.
That makes sense. That checks out.
All right. Do you guys want to get started?
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to do an intro?
Yes. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Stand Up. Today we have with us Casey Moratori, Trash Dev, and TG. He streams, by the way, DV. And we're going to have 3 topics you can see down below, which is going to be Goodbye GitHub, NX got wrecked, and, of course, the Tech Twitter fight of the week. That's pretty
The
exciting.
inaugural, is
It's
it
the
not?
inaugural. It's the inaugural Tech Twitter fight of the week. Very excited. If you-
Everyone watching right now, you are here at the beginning of something huge.
boom.
Yes.
If
Or
you have
we
a-
don't ever do it again. One or the other.
Yeah.
But we'll,
If you have
it'll be
next
one of
week's
the other.
fight,
Wait, what's happening? What are we doing?
just hold. Just
Okay.
Trash. Shut your mouth.
All right.
Trash,
Okay.
you asked for links, and I gave you links, and you don't even know what we're talking about now. This is
Yeah.
very
I do know
offensive.
what I'm talking about. I understand it.
Can you stop
Trash.
eating
The
gummy bears?
momentum of the show was like this, Trash, and then this
Me
was
and
you.
Starburst.
That's what happened.
All right,
It
so
just cratered.
goodbye GitHub. If you didn't know, the CEO of GitHub stepped down, and instead of getting a new CEO or anything, Microsoft has absorbed GitHub into their AI core team. And so this is leading to a lot of people fleeing from GitHub, or apparently a lot of people, obviously this is like blue sky people saying they're going to go to Codeberg. So I'm not really sure what that actually equates to in real numbers, but there's a lot of interesting questions going on here, which is one, what is the future of GitHub? And what do you think Microsoft actually values GitHub for? And TJ, I know you love Microsoft and you're probably the biggest fanboy. So what do you think this actually means for Microsoft here?
Well, one thing I'd just like to get on the record, Prime, could you say that I was correct that Microsoft's unable to ship new features?
We did have this discussion.
We had
before.
this discussion, and I'd like the record to be set straight in front of everyone.
I will say that Microsoft cannot ship new features, and their only answer to anything is AI at this current point.
And Microsoft is really hoping AGI gets here soon because they forgot how to make new things without it.
They're like, we don't remember how to embrace or extend, but we do know how to extinguish still.
That part we're ready to do. Okay, so my actual thing about this, which I think is like there's two main things. The first one that I think of is I think of Conway's Law. Number one. Trash, what's Conway's Law? We'll do a pop quiz.
I don't know, but I'm gonna Google it right now. I don't
Quick,
remember.
Trash. We'll cut it out in post. Here we go. Just pretend.
Yes. That. I'm pretending. Yes.
Kanye's
No,
law?
Trash, you still gotta read
Yes.
what Conway's Law is.
What's Conway's Law? Yes, it
Conway's
is.
Law describes the link between communication structure of organizations and the systems they design.
Wow, Trash. That's crazy you had that off the top
Could
of
you
your
say
head.
that in like
was-
layman's term, Trash?
Let me chat GPT. Conway's
So
Law emphasizes the need to
re-summarize.
break down silos within. No, that doesn't sound right. Next. Let's keep it going.
All right, TJ,
I do know
what is
I know what it
Conway's
is
Law?
now, though.
Okay, so the simple way of saying it is basically like the organization of your company will be reflected in the code effectively. Like, so if what you do is you move your code hosting platform and code review tooling that should be, iterating forward, making it so, yes, we can display every diff without having to have you click an extra button to say load diff. We're going to spend 10,000 gallons of water to ask the AI query, but we cannot run the Ruby code it takes to format this diff. We can't do it. They're going to say, okay, now this whole team and company is just going to get moved under AI. We no longer care about making GitHub a viable place to work together and be its own tool that you might independently use from the rest of the Microsoft AI stack. It will only be used to further Microsoft's AI goals. Even if that's not what they say, when they put it in the organization this way, that is what will happen. So that's Conway's Law.
Yeah, they're saying it. They're saying it with action, not in words, right?
Yes.
If they would have put it under developer productivity org, then it would have been
Right.
a lot more obvious, being like, oh, they're really actually trying to move closer. It's no longer a separate company. It's now inlined with whatever that means. Okay, we're going to see something here. But instead, you're right. AI, we're going to just see more AI because the person leading it isn't going to be like, you know what we need? Developer productivity. They're going to be like, we need more AI. What's
or
that?
just like, we need the things to load fast. They don't care. They care about it as a way to mine data from your code to fuel things or to license out that data to then sell to people. I think that's probably more likely. Like they're going to sell it out to OpenAI. They're going to sell it out to other people. But like, for me, it's kind of sad because you're like, this is the main place today people are using to share and work with code. And now I feel like it's kind of a dead end. I don't know.
I'd say
throw it
another
back to
thing
the
that
rest
they're
of the crew.
saying is that the money they make from private repos and from big orgs, like all of that is just not a priority anymore for them. It's really the AI in which they wish to monetize this thing. And so that's really going to be the driver of all this. That's at least how I'm saying the same thing as you. I'm just saying it from a different
That
perspective.
makes sense.
That they actually so thoroughly don't believe there's money in the hosting repo developer productivity. They're saying it's an AI.
Am I allowed to step in here and exonerate Conway from this a
Yes.
little bit? Okay.
Uh-oh.
So,
I
Conway's...
wasn't blaming him.
Well, I was going to say Conway is really not that implicated here, or Conway's Law isn't actually. Because what you guys are actually talking about is like motivation. You're talking about the fact that if I transfer something from the altruistic flower growing division of Microsoft to the we are here to grind up babies and put them into sausages division, that the direction of the product will change. And you're absolutely right. That is totally true, but it's not Conway's Law.
True.
Conway's Law is just that the org chart copies itself into the efficiency of the application you're doing or whatever it is, right? So if you have 3 teams who are all going to be separate teams, then when you produce the product, there will be 3 components to the product. It doesn't really have that much to do with what they'll all be trying to do. It's
Yeah.
just you won't get any actual like, and it's just about the speed of those communication links, right? It's like if these are separate groups, they talk internal to each other more frequently than they talk across, so they naturally can't have as much fusion across that boundary, right? So it's like the easiest way to look at this is like, why are there like 17 different volume sliders in Windows? It's like because a different team worked on every volume slider. That's just how it is. Like Conway's law is literally like baked into things you can literally see in like the application, right? And so I don't think Conway's law will be that responsible for the demise of GitHub. I think the like transferring it to the baby grinder division is most of it. But anyway, that's just me defending Conway from, because it's not really his fault this time.
Yeah. The only thing I would sort of like a little pushback there is like by putting it in the AI division, that's the people that they're going to communicate with, and they're going to work on building and doing all right. So it's more like
Teige's law. I
Yeah,
think you should just coin a law, which is that the
Yes.
ethos, which is that each one of like the divisions inside your org has like a goal, and when you move a project from one to the other, Teige's law says it will change the direction of the project, and there's no, it doesn't matter what the product was. You put it in there, it becomes that product.
True.
Call it Teige's law. Conway said nothing about this, to my recollection.
I think Casey is completely correct. I believe, if I remember, Conway's law is more about you can also apply it to the structure of code, represents the org chart.
Yeah. Like his classic example was if you have 5 separate people work on a compiler, you'll get a 5-pass compiler.
So
right?
Can we take a quick moment? Can we take a quick moment? Crimson Mama just did 200 gifted subs. Thank you very much, Crimson Mana. I appreciate
That's
that.
wild. Yeah,
so
while you
now
guys
it's
were
official.
talking,
It is Teige's law. Because like we had a big gift sub afterwards, so that's pretty sick. Thanks, Crimson. For
Crimson has
I like
stamped it
Teige's
official.
law. There is
Okay.
a little bit in the original Conway paper where he talks about like he does say that like managers having incentives to like, you know, there's a little bit in there about that, but it's about like their own personal career advancement. So it kind of maybe it foreshadows Teige's law a little bit, but I feel like you can lay claim to Teige's law here.
I
would
go
support
publish
you.
a paper.
You should.
All right, Trash. What were you gonna say?
No, I was saying while you all were debating, I was ChatGPT and Conway's law, getting an Eli 5 to me, right? And then after I read it, I was like, I don't think TJ knows what Conway's law is after all. So, you know, I'm glad Casey said something. So thank you for that.
So to be
I just
fair,
want-
hold on, I think you're being unfair to TJ.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, TJ.
No, Trash. That's good. That's good stuff. Dude.
Can we
That's
ask
funny.
ChatGPT what Teige's law is?
TJ
we
got
need
it
to
from
start-
Vegan,
but
and he
this
got
is-
really excited. And ever since then, it's been like that's what he's just been wanting to talk about. Okay, so I think
What?
you're just a little off.
I know Conway's law before Began told
No,
me.
you didn't.
Began informs me only of TikTok trends. He
Began?
does not inform me of any new
Say in
information
the chat
about
right now,
programming.
you know for a fact. Yeah, but
Vegan
TJ's
just
law
say yes
pretending
in
to know
chat, but-
know a law. You don't.
Wait,
That's
if
fine.
it's on TikTok, there should be big like letters flashing under the thing right now. Conway's law says that the org chart will be copied into the product that the corporation makes. For more, check out blah. It's like, yeah, great.
Oh, Casey,
Good.
that
This
was
is
good.
why the kids don't know anything.
That was a good radio
Anyway,
voice. No,
what
but-
else? Are we still? Or do we want to talk more about this? Like, what do we have other opinions on this?
Well, actually,
GitHub?
if I'm not mistaken, Casey, you mentioned that you're actually moving off of GitHub completely. I assume it has nothing to do with this, and your motivations has to do with
Correct.
the fact that you want your own Git private, or is it about LLMs, or is it about you actually envisioning your actual repository system as an entity itself?
It is about the LLMs. It was something that I kind of already knew and assumed that they were doing anyway. Like I mean, it seemed pretty clear that they were doing this with like GitHub Copilot and things like that. And as far as I'm concerned, like there's two separate things. We've talked about this before. There's what will like the Supreme Court and or Congress eventually decide to do with the official legality of training off of data you didn't pay for. But then there's also just the practical matter of it, which is that no matter what they decide, you can always put your stuff behind a paywall with an official license or something, right? And so I'm just like, well, I think it was very nice while it lasted that we could share things and trust that generally people would be upstanding citizens about it. AI companies have decided they would like to poison those waters. So now I think the responsible thing for any programmer to do, even if they want their software to be used open source, is it should be hosted somewhere that has a clear license that you have to click through to actually get to it, so it will be under their control what gets done with that thing. Since previously that would have just been the case, but now we're sort of seeing that AI companies have decided to be bad actors, basically. There's no other way to say it. Like, that is literally what they've decided, that they will not ask, and they don't care if they have your permission to use something. So I think the only responsible thing to do is to move to that. And GitHub obviously won't provide it because Microsoft has no incentive to provide that. It would be great if someone started a competing service that had that was relatively free of other constraints. But for me, I just figured, well, I'll just host a Git instance and call it a day.
So why don't you take this opportunity and create your own service? I mean, you talked about how you envision Git should be.
I mean, I don't like maintaining website stuff. It's the same reason I've never gone into that sort of thing. I don't really. It's not my. I don't derive joy from it, Prime.
Oh, nice, good answer.
I don't derive joy from it.
That's fair.
Yeah, fair.
I want to see like cool reflection mapping on the screen and stuff like that. Like, that's my jam. You know what I mean? I like that sort of thing. So it's like, yeah, I could go do that, but it just wouldn't be that much fun for me, right? So I'd rather just like, usually I'd rather pay someone. Like, my first thing is, does anyone actually have a service out there that I can just pay them to host this thing for me, because I don't really want to do it? And sometimes the answer is unfortunately no.
What about
right?
Git? I thought Git had a private service that you can purchase from. Do they have LLMs a part of this, or is it?
So for this particular case, I wanted to do an integration where people who subscribe to Computer Enhance will get special access to code that I publish that people who don't can't access. And so, as far as I could tell, there was no way to do that with the paid service. So that's why I'm hosting my own. But yeah, ordinarily, I absolutely would just pay someone to do it. I'm totally happy paying for web services if they work, right? So I would have done that, but in this particular case, I didn't see really a way to do the integration because I knew I was going to have to kind of run some stuff myself. I do web dev. I just do it begrudgingly, right?
You do web dev, yeah.
Yeah,
I do like a little. When I have to, I'll do a little bit.
You do.
So
Yeah.
do you not use Git TIA because it's EA at the end of the day, right? Like EA, it's in the repo. Git EA.
It's in the repo.
I don't
Since
know.
it's a competing game development company, you just don't
it.
use it? Is that the real reason?
I was so confused on what you meant by that. I was like, what's this?
I knew
was a
as
stretch.
soon
It
as
was a
you
stretch.
said EA Prime, I was like, it's in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's in the
yeah,
repo.
yeah.
I was like, executive assistant? I was so confused.
It wasn't there like also effective accelerationist or something?
Yeah.
Like, aren't there other weird EAs we could go with there too?
Effective altruism was the first
Altruism,
one.
there you go. Like, whatever it is. There's weird Silicon Valley stuff. You check your code in and all of a sudden it's trying to figure out how it can, like, maximize its take. So anyway, yeah, that we are doing that, and well, I am doing it, unfortunately. When I say we, in this case, it's just me.
The royal we.
But I hope to have that done somewhat soon. We're just running, but we're not doing anything cool. It's literally we're putting it on our own server and hooking it up.
Oh, what's the problem of having LLMs read your code, like on GitHub? Like, why do you view that as a problem?
So I don't necessarily view it as a problem. I view it as something that I can't turn off in my license. So it's an issue of control, as it always is. Like, a license is supposed to give you control over what you do and don't allow. And in my case, it'd be like, well, I might allow an LLM to read this code if I looked and I saw that the people who were operating that LLM training were doing something generally good for society. I didn't have a problem with what they might be planning. I didn't have a problem with
Sam Altman?
Yeah, like maybe not. But I mean, to be fair to Sam Altman, I have some limited hope that he will pass a Turing test sometime in the next year or two, let's say. Like, I'm still thinking at some point he'll come out and give an interview and I'll be like, that's a human. But it hasn't happened yet. So they're working on it at OpenAI, and I do think they've made a lot of progress. It just hasn't happened yet. However, I mean, like, if I look at something and I'm like, this is actually an LLM training thing that I would be on board with, then I'd allow that. Whereas if I look at something, I'm like, I don't like what these people are doing. I think it's exploitative. I think it's this. I think it's that. I want to be able to turn that off. And the fact that they're just asserting that they can take everyone's stuff without asking their permission is unlike most things that we have had previously, even in open source, where there's very clear, we've had a very long tradition in open source of providing a license and you're expected to follow that license. If you're not even willing to do that, I don't find you to be a good actor. And I don't really want to participate in whatever the heck you're doing. So on me, it's a principle issue.
It seems pretty confirmed. Like, it's kind of nobody cares anymore because the cat's already out of the bag, it seems. But when Copilot was first coming out, you could type some like LGPL code and stuff, and it would complete the rest of like famous LGPL code. And that's clearly against the license because they're using the code for a commercial purpose and not allowing the viral license to spread, right? In a good way. Like, what if you believe that that's good or whatever. But like, so it was clear they were just. And also, you're like, bro, GitHub, you guys could have just, like, you have the license. Just filter out repos with LGPL. It was like, dude.
Yeah. No, it's very clear that they just don't care about being good actors there. And effectively, I think it could have a lot of even more negative consequences that people haven't thought about yet. Because let's suppose that in the future, there's enough lobbying or the courts, decide one way or whatever, and it turns out there's just no penalties for this, and they decide that it's fair use to do whatever the heck you want with an LLM, then what's the result of that? Well, it's not that AIs just get free reign. That will not be what happens. What will happen is everyone will go dark, because now there's an overwhelming incentive to keep all of your code in-house and not allow anyone to access it, because now you have the only way to provide that value and to keep that control over what, how things are being used is to not share it with anyone who isn't a signatory to a specific license and who you actually have a specific business relationship with that goes beyond copyright, right? So
this is the 3-body problem, dude. They just made the 3-body problem, but for code. Like,
I don't know what that is, but I'm going to say yes.
Great reference.
Dude, that's a good reference.
I
That's a
have
good
understood
reference.
none of the references this episode.
Trash, read a book.
My God.
I watched the show.
The show?
I still don't get it. The show. I got nothing from what you said from the show.
The show has the same characters, not really doing something. The only thing good about the show was the ship being sliced. Like, besides for that, nothing else about the show really made any sense.
Okay, Trash, I'll explain it to you very quickly. This is spoilers.
And me. What about me? Yeah. I still have no idea what we're talking about right now.
It's book 2 is really what TJ's about to explain.
Yeah, you'd love this. This is called the basic premise of the series is that, like, well, the main thing I'm referencing here is called the Dark Forest problem, right? That's what they call it, Prime? In the book?
Yeah, the Dark Forest.
Which is that basically because, like, light travels so slowly on the scale of like the universe that if you sent a message out somewhere into the galaxy or into the universe and then like someone got it, it would be like 5,000 years into the future, right?
Yep.
And so by the time they got your message, your society would be so changed that you're probably like way more advanced than you were before. And so it sets up this game theory problem where basically like everyone's just going to blow up all the civilizations sending out messages because they're like, by the time we got this, they could be like laser nuke cannons that can incinerate us at the speed of light and we can't block it. Right. So then everyone, I think this is like the, I think that's
the basic premise.
A fair summary. Yeah.
I see.
And then, so then instead everybody has to be quiet because it's like the Dark Forest and you like basically put yourself in some crazy Dyson sphere or something. I don't really remember what the exact thing was. And so it's like, hey guys, we're signaling. We have no interest in blowing up other planets, so we're gonna go dark. And this is the same thing here. So anyway, sorry, Trash.
No, I totally see where you're going with that. Yes, and yeah, I mean that's basically what it's gonna be because why would anyone share anything anymore? Because now they know that it's just disrespected, and even what little they may have wanted out of control for a sort of like the GPL or something where it's like, look, you have to pay it forward. Right. Now you know that's not respected. So why would anyone put code out who's putting it out under GPL? Why would they share that code anymore? Right? And so there's now going to be incredible disincentive for programmers to put things out into open source. And so thanks AI companies, like way to go. Like because you were too greedy, you're going to destroy that aspect of this, right? And their answer is like, but don't worry, the AIs will be so smart they'll generate the code. It's like, yeah, what if they're not? Like what if you're just wrong and it doesn't happen? Like, it's fine if it does, but you can't predicate all of your behavior on success in this like weird Machiavellian way if there's still a very real potential that it fails or takes way longer than you think. Like, it takes 50 years instead of 5, right? And all of a sudden you just ruined everything for everybody for 5 decades because you were a dick.
And that's
I was pretty sure,
happening.
Trash, you were telling me you were going to keep posting your code, though?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with a normie response.
Go.
I'm pretty sure, like, at least in my this is just a guess here, but I feel like the vast majority is like me, where if you're gonna put it on GitHub, you're kind of, especially open source, you're more than likely okay with probably an LLM scanning it, and then there's gonna be like a small subset of that community, people like Casey or whoever that really like holds on to like your IP, right? And you don't want anybody to scan it. My assumption is just like, I know GitHub is definitely a piece of crap, right? Like, just like most of these big companies. But to me, it's like, I don't have anything so important to where I'm like, no, LLM, you can't take this. It's kind of like, it is what it is. My actual thing about GitHub is that GitHub just sucks. Like, it's a fucking
Yeah,
just
trash.
terrible product. I use it every day. I can't look at a big PR because it just crashes my browser. So I'm just like, approve. I don't know what you even did. So that's my big like thing with GitHub. That's where I'm like, so if anything, with them getting absorbed, maybe something changes, maybe it gets even better. Has anyone used GitHub outside of like the actual repo view? Does anyone use their notifications in the homepage? I've never seen it. So maybe like going into like this other org or getting absorbed, maybe it can only get up. No, they can definitely go down from here.
It can
But
definitely
I'm-
go down.
Yeah,
from
it
here.
can definitely go down. But I'm hoping just like something gets better. Like, I'm already like so far moved from me like cheering for GitHub in any sense. So like when this news came to me, I was like, whatever, it's just a piece of shit anyways. But maybe they do something cool. Likely not, but God forbid. Like, my experience with GitHub has been the same since I used it like a decade ago. It's just been like crap. So hopefully someone comes in, makes something better. There's like services like Graphite, Blacksmith that have some pretty cool stuff. But I don't know. I just don't think GitHub cares about anything, especially its users.
There's a follow-up thing that I think is kind of interesting, which is that if Uncle Bob is to be believed, that every 5 years the population of software developers, the new population is effectively equivalent to the current running amount, meaning that if we have 3x or if we have 2x engineers, one of the x's is in 5 years or less experience. If Copilot came out 4 years ago, most of these people are starting to come in through the agent and LLM. We're slowly getting to a population where more and more people don't even know how to program at all. Does GitHub have any real long-term footing anyways to begin with? Like, are people just going to use Replit or whatever service, and it just doesn't matter how their code's stored? It doesn't matter where it's stored. They don't even have a concept of this. And in 5 years, are we going to even be talking about GitHub? Or is it just going to be the magic storage place that always keeps track of everyone's moves? By the way, this is a Big In thought. This is not my thought, so I can't take credit for it. We were talking about this.
I think you could take credit for it if you wanted to, because what's he going to do about it? He's not even on here.
Dude,
I don't even know who
I'm
Beacon
gonna
is.
fire him.
Yeah, who is that?
So what you're saying is, if I vibe coded with like Bolt or something, it just stores the code for me, launches it, and I don't even care.
Yeah, you
Like, as
don't.
long
Yeah,
as
what
my
about all
app-
the vibe coders coming up? They don't really care.
True,
And so
exactly,
Cursor
yeah,
can
yeah.
just effectively destroy GitHub's moat in an afternoon if they just set up a Git T instance and be like, we now host projects, $5 extra a month. You get to host unlimited projects. Go.
Well, Zed is actually doing that, right?
Oh, Zed's doing it. Nice.
I think Zed is doing. They're calling it. Oh, I should have looked this up. Maybe someone in chat can send it to me. But they're making. It's not Git. It's going to be something different that is much actually closer, Casey, to your like ideal state, since it's like inside the editor, and they're going to track a bunch more
Nice.
state and be able to play more things and other stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it was. There was some loose announcement. that I
Griffing's saying
saw.
it's JJ under the hood potentially.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what the actual plan is. But like exactly what we're saying is because a lot of people, maybe it will look very different. Maybe they just won't even care where their code's stored or whatever. It's just, I deployed it. It's good. I mean, like I've used some of those. I don't know where the code is. You know what I'm saying? Like I click the button and it goes. Like,
Does anyone really know where the code is, TJ?
Well, the
yeah,
code
it's
knows where it
underground.
is.
It's above
because
us,
it knows where it
Casey.
isn't.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
don't
above
Kamala Harris us, TJ.
No, that's my favorite one. It's in the
Didn't they
ground.
put stuff in the ocean? Didn't they put stuff like in a crate and just drop it in the water?
Let me suggest a more evil
data
thought,
lake.
because
Trash.
I feel like I put nothing past AI companies at this point. The
I
much
love
more
evil.
evil version of this is everyone races to get a development environment that stores the code, but stores the code in such a way that only their LLMs train off of it. Because the value in the LLM is going to come from how much code and what code quality it can train off of. So they're not going to want, like, if you have your cursor is running something, they're not going to want to share any of the code that you're writing, that they're storing, that they're training off of with their competitors, because they don't want those competitors to get any better, right? Right now, that's not happening because most of these are segmented. It's like the AI company is a different provider than the company that's providing the IDE, but I doubt that will remain true forever.
I think that
OpenAI
is
already
likely.
bought one, right?
Yes.
So
I got 2 quick thoughts,
okay.
and then I really want to talk about the NX thing
All
in
right,
terms
let's
of
NX it up.
hilarious AI things happening.
Yes.
The first one, I feel the normie concern people are missing out, or the concern that normies are missing out on about like the LLMs reading your open source code, is that if companies can get around things like GPL licenses and courts decide that, it is a really sad and like kind of, it's a huge bummer, because this means like every time a successful open source thing happens where they build something and it's like properly open source, maybe they run their own hosting or whatever, they have some way to make a company, or it's just properly GPL and it's like a great thing. Any company can just literally copy that feature for feature, everything, and just say that the AI did it. And so like Amazon can just Elasticsearch everything in the future, right? Where they just like take all of it from you. So that part is like an actual bummer and thing that would be sad. The second quick thing was, Trash, originally I asked you about you were posting your code because I thought you were like intentionally poisoning the AI's training data. Was that not true?
Oh, I'm always actively sabotaging. You
Okay,
just-
good.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
that
Don't
explains
worry,
a
don't
lot
worry.
of your GitHub
I'm
contributions,
fighting for
so-
humanity right now, as far
Yeah,
as I'm
okay, thank you.
concerned.
Thanks.
So we're good. I'm on
also,
your side.
I would hope that, I mean, I don't know what normie refers to exactly in this case, but I would also hope that normies would care about the fact that, like, a bunch of these people are making open source software aren't getting paid amazing salaries. Some AI researcher who hasn't done jack squat but, type in a bunch of crappy lines of Python that didn't really work is making 500 grand a year. And the open source developer who they're ripping off to make their product is making nothing. They should have a problem with that. Like, at some level, you should have a problem with that. And that is what copyright was supposed to be solving. It was supposed to be ensuring that those people were getting some of this money. If open source, if AI developers were all making 25 grand a year and had to take a second job at McDonald's, I wouldn't have a problem with this, but they're not. They're taking all the money for themselves, and they're getting paid even as their companies are losing money, right? And a shit ton of, am I allowed to say that on this podcast?
Yes.
A crap ton of money is going to build gigantic, like, gigawatt data centers, right, that are sucking up all of the electricity from your state, and they're taking all of the GPUs you were going to be using for gaming. Those are gone. They're going to that data center now. All of the RAM you were going to be buying for your GPU, that's going into that data center. So you are losing a ton, even if you're, for whatever we want to call a normie. I think you have the same concerns as someone who maybe isn't a normie or whatever. I don't even like these distinctions very much. People should be pretty pissed about this, in my opinion. Next topic.
Fully agree. Love it.
But,
Oh,
so you tell me
fine.
I can sell my code later in the future, like as data, like, you know how we sell like emails and stuff to other companies? I can like sell my code
I feel like
base
that's
to other
probably,
people. Is that where we're going?
if you
maybe
keep
not
it
your code,
secret,
Trash,
if you
but
keep it on your own server.
$50.
Yeah.
$50 is yours.
You can be like $50. $50. You can have trash code.
Mm-hmm.
You can have my one password
I got a new career.
that gets into my code for $50.
I'm gonna all be rich in the future, boys. Let me tell you.
All right. Well, what a note to end on. Okay, we're going to finish that one up, and we're going to move on to NX Gets Hacked. So I got a couple images for you guys. Hopefully everybody...
Wait. Stop, Prime. I'm the normie here. Can you give a a brief explanation of what the heck NX is for those of us who don't know JS all day?
Teach.
Yeah, it's the stuff you put in your car to make it go fast.
I can explain. I can explain NX.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Trash knows it
Trash.
for real.
Yeah, so NX is like it's a tooling company for like the web, especially now it's for like mono repos. So if you're not familiar with like doing mono repos, the whole cell is like they kind of scaffold all these tools for you, so you don't have to know anything. So they just abstract you so far away from like the nuts and bolts that you just have to type some command and something spits out. So for example, let's say I want to create a repo and I wanted to add like these 3 different tools. I could just type in 3 commands, it would scaffold it all for me. And they have like these plugin systems and stuff like that. But just imagine it's just like you ever use like Yeoman or something or any kind of
Dude,
code
he's not a web
generator?
dev.
I mean, of
Oh.
course not, Trash.
Okay. Well, anyways, just
My
imagine you hit
favorite
a button.
archer, though.
Yeah. Just imagine you just hit a button to start a project, and it just does everything for you.
Okay,
and
so-
this is specifically for like the web tooling space for like repositories.
All right, so let me put on my imagination hat here. So this is one of those things where you start it up, you type in some command because you want like a database server setup or something like this. You type in
Sure.
something, it spits out like literally 7,000 warnings you don't understand, 14 errors at the bottom, and then the database is working, and you just cross your fingers from there on.
That's
is that basically
exactly
what we're talking about?
that is literally the experience.
Got
To
it.
be-
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think I can explain it better for you, Casey.
Okay.
Setting up your own build systems is to make, as NX is to CMake. You
Oh, boy.
still have to
Okay.
learn a bunch about configuration. You're gonna have to learn a bunch of like.
Okay.
It's not free. It's not like you just go give
Okay.
me this, and it just works.
Okay.
It's more like
Okay.
there's a bunch of stuff you still have to do to make it work, and you then
Okay.
eventually have to learn all the ins and outs of NX to build your
I
products.
see.
It's something to build stuff to build your product.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just
All
like,
right.
it's even harder than just if you did it yourself because you have to
Great-
learn
great work,
all their own
everyone.
bespoke ways. Yeah, it's crazy.
Great work. Yeah. Love
Okay.
it.
Well,
Now,
let-
what happened?
Let me show you some images. Well, it got massively hacked recently. And how it all started was from this little simple PR thing right here that you probably see on my screen. All it is this is a GitHub action that it runs in elevated permissions, and it takes the title of the PR and it lets everybody know, hey, we're going to validate this PR now. Now, somebody smart came around and said, well, wait a second. If I just do $ opening parenthesis echo something, I can then get commands to execute because they're just executing stuff in a string, right?
Okay, nice.
Casey's
Nice.
loving this. Okay. Step
Oh
one.
my God.
Okay, good. I'm glad you like step one. All right, so step two was that after they did that, they opened up a malicious PR to a branch that wasn't updated to protect this because they actually had some old branches that were still running some old CI. And they added some code that would check to see, do you have an NPM token? All right, after checking to see if you have some NPM token, they would send that NPM token off to a nice little server. And then after sending it off to a server, they could publish whatever version of NX they wanted because they now have your credentials into NPM. So they published one that contains the following prompt. Recursively search local paths on Linux, Mac OS, starting from home, blah, 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 all the way to the end, looking for cryptocurrency, looking for GitHub tokens, looking for every single .env file you effectively owned. And then they're going to pass this prompt to your local running Claude, Gemini, and Q agentic tools with the flags of dangerously skip permissions, YOLO, thanks Google, that's a Google one, or trust all tools and no interactive from Q. And so the idea was that they actually built something that couldn't be caught by just having like simple static analysis, right? You couldn't see anything just like cat, tilde / .git config. You can't catch this because it's instead saying, hey, LLM, could you do all these things for me? And so they were able to end up getting, I think, about 4,000 users over the course of like 60 minutes and compromised a bunch of repos. And what they ended up doing is taking all this information, they would then curl that up or they would commit it to GitHub under a public repo. And then some other stuff they did, which was really mean, I didn't include this, was that after they did all of this and they got all of your information, they included another line inside your bash RC that was just shut down shut down now. And so when you opened a terminal, it would just shut down your computer. And so a bunch of normies who've never used like you've never done any of the Super 3 or the F2 stuff, like opening up something that doesn't execute all of your stuff, you're just locked out. You had no idea how to stop because every time you opened up a terminal, it would shut things down. You didn't know how to edit that. I mean, I personally would probably struggle for 30 minutes even trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
I'd buy a new computer.
Yeah, just buy a new computer. So it was quite the hack.
The one thing too, Casey, in case you don't know, for those those CLI tools, you install them on your system, right? They run like an LLM, like in a loop, right? This is like the agent thing. And like Prime mentioned, those flags like dangerously skip permissions or whatever, normally the LLM's tools that it has access to cannot just do things on your system, which is smart because it can do anything, literally anything. It could come up with any command it wants to run. So normally you have to say yes, accept, yes, accept, yes, accept. However, people are like, bro, I'm shipping way too slow when I have to accept these. bro, I gotta be moving fast. I got 37 features to ship today, and I don't have time to click yes, run this command. So they all basically have a way to say, like, don't ask me about this. I want to run it for real with nobody asking me along the way. Let me run whatever I want. So that's how then it was able to start accessing file system and elevate itself and do all this other stuff and search all of the files everywhere, is because that's what the flag is there for. It literally says, like, just don't care anymore. I give you my whole computer. Do what you wish.
And so, all of that from somebody echoing out the title of a PR.
Why are people still... How are we still at the point where we have string escape bugs, people?
I love this. Like, that's Casey's first complaint is not the AI hack, but it's like, bro, string
Are you out of your goddamn mind? Like, look, like, this is... I always find it funny because, like, Rust devs are like, the memory safety and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, no one cares. Like, you're going to go through all this trouble. You're going to create an entire language for memory safety. Nobody cares, right? Because they're just going to be echoing stuff. They're going to be sending strings to the SQL server, and little Bobby drop tables is just going to destroy the entire thing, right? It's like, you don't, like, you're focused on the part of the problem that we are so far away from now. Like, that might have been a security problem in 1992. We have moved on. We have, let's execute the title of our PR as the thing that's on the table now, right?
Well,
So,
people
yeah,
just didn't know that if you
mean,
double quotes,
Jesus.
it does that. If they would have just single quoted it, you know, the title, it would have been fine.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Trash.
Honestly, we deserve it. I don't care. Motherfuckers, or sorry, bad word, very bad word.
All right.
People
yeah.
just be installing whatever, man. So shame on you. You know, this ain't the first time it happened. It ain't gonna be the last.
Oh,
so.
but hold on. This is people using NX. So they have these build tools, all this. So people actively developing. And the thing that I didn't include here is it also infected NX's VS Code plugin. So they launched the thing. VS Code probably does a lot of auto updating of plugins, auto updates for you. This thing just is like bam, 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 boom, hosed, right? Like you don't even know. And it's a build tool. Who would have guessed a build tool was going to get
Also-
supply chain attacked?
Why use Neo?
Also, you may have no choice. Like, if you are compiling locally someone else's open source package that has NX in it, you don't have a freaking choice, right? Because your only other option is to make a complete fork that gets rid of NX, and good luck with that, let me tell you, because it's like, you know, like I said, 50,000 warnings and all this other, like, you have to go through and untangle their entire build process if you don't want to use it. So you're not going to do that, right? And you're going to have to do that every time they update, by the way. So you don't really have a choice. Like, this stuff, it's very much like, I mean, I would consider a lot of these things basically like STDs. Like, this is like a sexually transmitted disease, right? Like, I go check out this open source product, and all of a sudden, like, you know, like, I didn't use a condom. So now NX is on my machine, and it's just there, and there's nothing I can do about it because I decided this one time to sleep with this open source product that now I'm using in my production, right? So it's really nasty. Like, all of this stuff, the whole, like, package manager, the whole thing has these really nasty costs for security, and that we keep paying, and it looks like we're going to keep paying, right? So, you know, the market for penicillin is going to be pretty big, as I guess what I'm saying.
This is not the
Casey,
direction I was thinking.
Are you slut shaming people who try out multiple open source projects?
Kind of. Well, here, let me tell you something. I'm not gonna be specific, right? Because I'm not the kind of guy who tells
Not
about this
kissing
sort
and
of stuff
telling. I
afterwards.
respect
All
that,
right, so I'm
Casey.
not gonna be specific, but I will
respect
say
that.
that yesterday, I just one time, just once,
That's okay.
I installed an open. I did install from. So I built from source. Right. I was up late. I wasn't
was weak.
thinking.
Moment of weakness. We get it.
I had a moment of weakness, and I did build from source a particular open source package.
Wait, so is building from a source no condom? Is that the equivalent?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
And
That's
here's
raw
the
dogging,
thing.
dog. You're
Just
like,
give
you're
me
just
the
giving
EXE!
expression.
Just give me the EXE!
And here's the thing. I am not making this up. You guys posted that thing about NX to the Discord. I was like, did I just catch NX? And I looked, and I did. I was not. Thankfully, it had already been patched, but I almost caught this NX disease, right? From one time. Okay?
It's all it
So,
takes, Casey. You should have
kids,
learned this in Dare.
This is
It's all it
abstinence
takes.
education right here. Okay?
Are you just like
You
itchy
wait
after you
until
get
you're
up?
married to one project.
Yes.
That's how
Build-
that's the
build
only
the other
option.
from source
Otherwise,
only.
you're going to get NX'd all over the place. You don't want to know what
True.
it does to your system, okay?
Yeah, nothing's
Yeah.
worse than getting up from a programming session and then it just hurts to pee afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, it hurts to CLI. You know what I mean?
No, I got
Yeah.
it.
It's just like
You
it's
can't
like,
even
why
get your
does it hurt
terminal
when
up
I
anymore
when I
because
CLI?
it keeps shutting down your system. Like you got this whole problem.
Oh no. Oh, our first episode that gets demonetized.
It's a great episode though.
You guys always say you're a bad influence on me, but you have no idea. I'm a bad influence here.
That one was out of left field.
Yeah,
was
we're
good.
actually
I like
just
it,
talking
Casey.
about us having like memory managed languages as being okay. Casey, we're influencing that Lua is not that bad. Not about catching the case of the NXs and not being able to get your terminal up.
I mean, I didn't make up a single word of that story.
That's actually crazy, Casey. I can't believe that there would have been such banger content if you had gotten got by that.
It would have
Oh
been.
my
It
God.
would have been. Yeah, it would absolutely have been. But I was just a little too late. Like maybe
Were
if
you
it
on
had
Windows
been
or Mac
last week
or
or something.
Linux?
So it was. I mean, technically Linux, but it's WSL. So it
Ooh,
was
you
on.
might have been
Windows.
okay though, because I believe it had one of the things was that if it detected your operating system was Windows, it bailed out.
But would it have?
I don't know.
'Cause
I don't know how Weasel works, right? Like I'm not.
It's like a
I'm not
VM,
really-
so it would
Yeah.
have basically looked like Linux, I think.
Okay, yeah. I don't know about Weasel, so I just know that it's
Yeah.
people like it.
That is one of the other things that's very novel about this approach was for the first time ever, Linux and Mac had a virus and Windows did not. Like I didn't even know it was possible to do. That's kind of crazy too. It's like AI. Now I'm thinking. Just hear me out. Just a little bit of a conspiracy theory. Bill himself wrote this to sabotage.
Oh.
He's the
competitors.
Singularity. That's the name too. That's the name of the guy. Singularity.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying he's writing viruses specifically to attack other operating systems to cement Windows supremacy. He's like, we clearly can't ship any features, but you know what I can do? I can write my own viruses that attack other operating systems and make us the best remaining choice.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That way, only Windows will be able to run on the microchips that they inject into your bloodstream. And that's
Yes.
the end goal.
True.
Oh, that's endgame? Shit.
That's the end goal right there.
They already have that with 5G, Casey. You're behind.
So,
They've been doing it with radio waves called 5G for a long time, Casey.
I know, right. I mean, yes, but that's, again, it's an operating system issue. He wants to make sure it's only Windows that's traveling over 5G. So,
goes
I
through
have
the
a question
Windows.
about this more broadly for people who are more familiar with this than me, which is
Yes.
everybody. But last night was an eye-opener for me, my little fling, by the way, I will say. Because I went through and I was like, I installed this thing. I wanted to inspect some of its code. I wanted to get right in there and take a look at really the whole thing, right? Just really feel around and see how it was. And so I installed this open source thing on WSLR's Weasel, as Prime is calling it, and I went through a bunch of stuff. I had to install the right version of Node and all this stuff because, of course, the idea that you could ever run something on two different versions of Node is ridiculous. It has to be built for this one version of Node or forget it, guys, right? So I had to like do this whole thing of like, oh crap, that's the wrong Node version. So I had to use, and I loved the fact, by the way, that you have to have a manager for installing Node, which then has a manager for installing the rest of Node. It's like you have NVM so that you can get NPM so that you can get your stuff. And it's like everyone is fired. Every last one of you is fired. If I could have the entire Node community and fire them all at once, I would. It is absurd. Absolutely ludicrous. But anyway.
Are you saying, Casey, you're saying it's not more the merrier? It was not one of those kind of situations? Gotcha.
No.
Okay.
And that was all to run Yarn. It was the stupidest thing. I'm in here and I'm like, why do I argue with people on Twitter? If this is what is being made, there's no argument. You all lose. Whatever the argument is you're having, you lose. This is all you need to do. Install one Node program, and after that experience, you should not be allowed to have an opinion on anything, right? You're done. You're out, right? You're out of the discussion. Thanks for playing. But the problem is, like, so I do all this stuff, right? And so there's all these meticulous little things that I have to do to get it to actually build, because like after the right version of this, I had to do this thing. I had to like line everything up just so, and I got it working fine. Still 8,000 warnings, of course, because that's just par. Like there's no way you're getting the thing to run without all those warnings. So I get it all working. And so what I want to know is, how the heck did the authors of this virus get the frickin' thing to install and run properly? My assumption would be they'd ship the virus, and on almost everyone's machine, it would just error out with like the wrong version of Claude was installed. Like, so how did it work? Was it just the people who got exploited were the few people who had like the exact same setup as the people who wrote this virus? Like, what's the deal?
Yes, Casey, that's why only 4,000 instead of 40 million developers were infected.
Right? That's what I'm literally, is that true?
I mean, I don't know, but maybe. But that's just a day in the life, man.
That's just funny. But no, Casey, when you say that, it just makes it makes me forget how like web dev pilled I've been over the last decade. Because you're saying all those things, I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you have NVM? Of course. I mean, I use N, but that's just a different package manager.
It
that's
makes
just,
no sense.
It's just
so
absurd.
Everything you were saying, I was like, yeah, that's me every day. What's the big deal?
It's so not. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding.
Casey, what we need is, you know, the day in the life videos where they're like, here's me sipping on a latte. I work for 5 minutes. We need this, Casey, but you and installing a JavaScript package for the first time. Hey guys, it's me. It's here today in the life of Molly Rocket Studios. Here we go. Oh, I need to check out this JavaScript project. Yeah. And then like it's just 8 hours of you trying to figure out how to get Node installed.
Well, to be fair, it's not that hard to figure out. It was just ridiculous that I had to do all these things. I'm like, what do you mean you have to have the right? Like what? Like what is going on here? What are all these package managers for if it doesn't automatically get the right versions of the things? How am I in charge of that? That's absurd.
Casey, next time you're just supposed to run Claude code -- dangerously, skip permissions, -- prompt, install Node and all required things. Please, no mistakes, go fast, secure.
Secure. That's why we have all these problems. No one keeps adding secure. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
You know, for those that are thinking YOLO, TJ was right. YOLO's for Gemini.
Yeah. Google's so relatable. They're like, what's up, fellow kids?
I know, right?
We added YOLO to this.
Well, it's probably like a bunch of people who think YOLO is still in the meta. They're like, oh, kids say that still, right?
They have that the 40-year-old product manager with the unbuttoned up T-shirt, the backwards hat.
Guys, you know they had several meetings about it, and then a design document and everything else, and they had to come together, and then someone had to sign off. Yes, YOLO. That sounds good. We'll ship that, and the kids will finally start using Google products again.
It's like the designers who decided that Windows was going to start having messages like, hey there, I'm just doing a few quick updates. Love what you're doing. I'll be back in a jiffy, right? Instead of just like, hey, Windows updates is going to take a long ass time, and here's a spinning, bubble thing, right, while you wait. So all the little things got like, got really cutesy and like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
I would love to see a comparison of like the internationalization of all of those. Like, do you think like what's the Ruski version, Like, because there's no way in Russian it's like some cutesy phrase, you know what I'm saying, right? Or like,
I have no idea.
I want to know though. I want to know badly.
All right, I gotta take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Okay. Apparently trash too.
Just you and me, Tej.
What's up? Hey,
Not much.
Casey, you should tell him about Meow the Infinite right now.
So I was very, very happy to hear that you and Trash had kids who loved Meow the Infinite. That
Yes.
was like the biggest endorsement we could possibly have. I have it here. It's
Yeah, show
almost
'em.
done with book 3. We've got the 2 books here that were already printed. If you have kids and you like graphic novels at all, you should check it out. meowtheinfinite.com.
It was very fun. My kids, we devoured them. We started book 1 and they were asking every night to finish, and then the next one. Yep.
You can still get them. There's like it gets printed by a Kickstarter, right? And then it's like however many we print, however based on the demand. It'll still be up for like another week or 2, I think, for late backing.
Yep.
But yeah, we would love to have more people. We'll be sending them out in just a few weeks, probably. Really, we sent the final proofs off to the printer today, so we're hoping that book 3s will be printed pretty soon. But yeah, we're really excited about it because we planned the whole story out, and it's this whole big thing.
Yeah.
And so like we're really excited for everyone to see the conclusion. We won't know. You'll have to tell us what your kids will tell us what they think. Tej, you'll have to let me know.
Yep. Very good. Very fun. Would recommend. You guys should check out the Kickstarter if
Thank
you
you.
haven't
We
already.
appreciate it. We appreciate it.
I'm a little bit surprised that you didn't at any point, Casey, be upset at the fact that you just have an AI running commands under what it thinks should happen. Like you didn't even mention that once.
You know why? Because I think I've said this on this podcast before when we talked about AI. All it takes is like 1 hour with one of these projects, and I'm like, I get why you guys use AI. No one, I mean, I don't want to do any of that stuff, right? Like, I don't want to do it, right? I mean, look at the code is massive. It's sprawling. There's 50 billion classes to do like one thing, right? It's in 20 different languages. It's got 50 million different command line things. So I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't want to learn this, right? It's just kind of arbitrary complexity. And I understand why you want an AI to deal with it, right? I mean, I would too. So I don't blame people for using them on these kind of projects. It makes a lot of sense. I don't have high confidence the AI is all that good at it yet, but like I get why you want it, right? And yeah, the downside is going to be people are now going to write viruses that are just prompts.
Dude,
right?
it's
The virus
crazy.
is
The
just
like,
prompts.
how are you gonna do static analysis on English?
You
Or
ain't.
the crazy like, they also understand other languages. You
Yeah.
can,
Yep.
you don't have to write your prompts in English where people can read it. Write it in something that regular people on GitHub like aren't using as their main mode of communication. Put it in like,
Esperanto.
Oh, well, I mean, some people know that one.
Yeah.
Well, there's
some.
there's entirely possible that there are completely unknown, non-existent languages that are just byproducts of what the LLM's weight matrix is.
Yes.
That you could just put in a random string of words in multiple languages, even mixed potentially. That just looks like
what'd be
gobbledygook,
crazy?
right?
You could just put in the embedding weights, because you can turn the prompt into the numbers. You could just literally put in the embedding weights.
Yeah,
of
you
the
like
numbers.
back solve for the like a series of words that primes it in just the right way that it would
Oh.
appear as if it will do the same effective operation as the English, and no one would know. They would not be detectable at all, right? It's just completely meaningless what's in there, right?
Oh, we just gave people some bad ideas. Scratch that from the record. Scratch that from the record.
Hey, Trash, your microphone sucks.
Is it okay now or is it crappy? Oh no.
I don't know, Trash.
I
It
can
was
hear you
kinda like-
breathing all of a sudden.
I kind of liked it, though. I mean, he's gone now. He's out. All right, I want to do
All
the
right.
tech Twitter fight.
Yeah, I want to do the tech Twitter fight too.
All right, last topic of the day.
By the way,
Here we go.
I genuinely thought we were going to spend 10 minutes on each one of these. I vastly underprepared for how long we were going to spend on these. All right.
What in our history together, Prime, would make you think that that's what would happen?
I just came in with a positive attitude, like it's going to happen.
All right.
I'm positive we're going to spend more than 10 minutes on every topic.
Hey, do you like how we have that little thing down below that's actually saying where we're at on the topics?
It's very cool. It looks good.
Hey,
Do I sound better now?
yeah, you
Yeah,
sound great.
Trash. Nice. You look great, too.
Dude, this MacBook is doo-doo butt.
All right, everyone. Now it's time for what you've the big event you've all been waiting for. Tech Twitter Fight of the Week, ladies and gentlemen. Here to introduce what today's Tech Twitter Fight, or this week's Tech Twitter Fight is the Primogen.
So for this,
Private variables evil.
There you go.
thank you, TJ.
I thought that was Casey. I was like, holy shit.
I don't even know what TJ just said.
His real voice reveal.
So there was a recent tweet by someone named Zach who was kind of poking fun at Andrew Kelly, creator of Zig, saying that he will not support private variables. Just sorry, Zig's not going to have private variables. The end. Now, after this happened, Biggin was doing a little digging. I wasn't doing the digging. Biggin did some little digging, and we did happen to find a video where Casey. You can barely see it on here. This is Casey from 10 years ago talking about private variables.
It's so good.
And he was just like, if you do this, getters and setters and private variables, you're fired. This is the second time today I've heard Casey talk about getting fired if you do something. And this is one of them. And so
We brought the receipts, baby. We brought the receipts.
Yep.
Casey would have fired me so many times. It's crazy.
I think
so many getter
that's
setters,
specifically
dude.
about getters and setters, though.
That was about
less
getters
about
and setters.
private.
Yeah. He's just like, with private, you have to do getters and setters. I'm going to fire you. And so I've read some other things. I have some images. I just forgot to actually put them inside of the stream. So too bad you're not going to be able to see them. But there was tweets from Ryan Fleury saying that private variables are an incredibly bad idea and you should basically never want to use them. Somebody else said the merchants of complexity, by the way, shout out DHH, want private variables. So you need to set and get member functions for every single variable. You can bloat the absolute F out of your code. Right. So I love
believe
that.
Bill Hall, too, right? Bill Hall, creator of Odin, agreed with Andrew in
Okay.
that thread.
Yep. Yes. Ginger Bill also said it. And then even the creator of Tiger Beetle, one of Zig's biggest projects, also said the reason why they use Zig is precisely the rationale behind these decisions. And then some people, some dissenters said that with quotes, I could add a single keyword to solve this entire problem, but no, you should instead carefully document each and every variable instead of just restricting the user from doing dumb shit. Also, getters and setters are an anti-pattern because I say so. Good luck managing duplicate state when you don't have the convenient tool to manage it because F you. And so people are getting very feisty in the thread, getting very, very upset. And Casey, you probably actually are one of the only ones in this group that actually have probably a more well-informed opinion. Because I come from Java, where it's just a keyword, right? That's one of my first languages. And then in C, where it just didn't exist. And so I was just like structing and making everything public. And I never really quite understood the arguments until this thread. Do you kind of want to walk us a little bit through what the heck, why private variables would be considered bad?
Yeah, I mean, so it's worth noting that, like that video that you're talking about, I'm very anti-getters and setters, and there's a lot of good reasons for that, which we could talk about.
But we all agree
However,
getters and setters are stupid.
What I would say is I'm not as 100% anti-private as some of the people in that thread would be. So we'll talk about that maybe a little bit as well. But in general, so there's kind of two ways that you might approach the idea that you're giving someone some code that they're supposed to use, right? So, when we're talking about private, what we're talking about is you're sort of giving something presumably to another programmer or to yourself in the future. And you're supposed to use some part of that, like an interface, like methods on it, or public variables that are in it. And you're sort of saying these other parts, they're kind of like implementation details that I'm worried either A, you will mistake how they work and they'll cause you bugs right now, which is one thing. So I don't want you to access them. And of course, that's what private does. It prevents anyone except the implementer of that particular object from accessing them. Or I don't think you'll make a mistake with them right now, but I might change how they're used in the future, and I don't want to break what you've done with them by changing how they work. right? So that's really what private is doing, is it's saying there's this part of the thing that I don't really want you using for some reason. Either I don't think you can use it right now, or I don't think it will be maintained in the future. So there you go, right? And it's important to remember that it's like, this is not a thing that didn't already exist in other ways. So in C, the way that you do this is you just don't ship that piece, right? So you put in the header file like a bunch of functions that operate on some struct, and you just don't ship the struct. The struct is just blind, right? That's how you used to do it. In C++, they kind of decided, well, we've got all this stuff, like you have to derive from classes, and you might be the one deriving from the class, and all this other stuff, or we want to declare these on the stack in the local person space, and blah, 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 blah. So they were like, it would be nice if you could just have sort of that struct you didn't publish could still live in the header file. Now, for various reasons, this turned out to be a terrible idea objectively, in my opinion. Not because of the thing that's being argued about here, but because that pushed all the implementation details into header files, which means that your compilation dependencies are now all based on the implementation of the class, not just the actual interface to the class, which massively exploded compile times, which led to books like Large Scale C++, or whatever the name of that book was by Lakos, who was like, there was like an emergency in the C++ community when this happened, and people tried to do large scale. The compile times went through the roof. They're still through the roof today, by the way, but at least they've been mitigated somewhat.
People are used to Rust now, so the compile times are so quick. You don't even have to worry about them.
So that's kind of where this comes from. And then people grow up with this, like most people who have been programming in C++ for a long time. They want to switch to something like Zig, let's say, because whatever reason, they've got some reason they want to switch to Zig. They go in there, or maybe they came from Java or somewhere else that inherited this kind of idea, pun intended. They want this feature because that's how they're used to constructing code. So they ask for the feature, they get told no, you get this thread. Nobody thinks about it for more than 5 seconds. They all reply, yes, it's great, no, it's terrible, and that's the end of the story. I think that's roughly where we're at. Is that a fair summary, everyone?
Sure. I like it
I'd
so
say
far.
so.
Yeah.
So I can give you Andrew Kelly's kind of motivation behind it all. So here's his exact reasoning. I don't have the image for the screen, so in post we'll fix it. Josh, fix it. Here's my reasoning. There are many properties that can be leaked into public interface of an API. For example, size and alignment of a struct, performance characteristics of a given function implementation, whether a function can be executed at comp time, existence, non-existence of declarations, and more. It is up to the documentation of a given package to specify what exactly the major version is protecting. That is, what exactly counts as breaking and what does not. Whether a given field is a part of the public API or not is one more item in the list. Of course, most of these have a general recommendations for defaults. It gives a whole bunch of stuff. The idea of private fields and getter and setter methods was popularized by Java, but is an anti-pattern. Fields are there. They exist. They are the data that underpins the abstraction. My recommendation is to name the fields carefully and leave them as part of the public API, carefully documenting what they do. A good example would be this, and it gives what a mutex is. Effectively. Is a mutex has the unprotected counter underneath and all that kind of stuff. And so his argument is that it affects some like implementation details. And I think there's something called Hiram's law, if I'm not mistaken. Hiram's law effectively says like all the private implementation details become public features given enough time with the library. Meaning that like people will actually care about how things are implemented because they eventually leak out. And so having things that are private ultimately expose behaviors to the public.
Trash, do you like private variables? I want to know.
I don't think I've ever in my life, I always found that private variables hindered me more than anything because I always end up being, oh man, I actually need to use this. So why can't I just have it? Especially if I was designing something, I was like, what should I make private? I've never had like a good use case. Like, yeah, I should hide this for whatever reason. So I'm not like a diehard on either side. I just know that I personally have never had a use case where I was like, that should be private. And that's the end of it. If anything, give me access to everything, and then I just use it as I please, and then hopefully that doesn't mess anything up. That's kind of just been my general approach and mindset there.
Yeah, I've had this thing where I think it's just due to the decade that I started programming in, which was like the Java peak, like the pinnacle of Java. And so I've always been like, oh, you got to hide all these things because people are going to abuse them. And now I'm just like, let them all free. If someone decides to start changing values, That's on them, right? Like it's just not even on. Like, what do you expect? What do you expect, people?
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like I will say it does feel right in some languages to have private variables. It feels like Zig, it would feel wrong. Zig feels like you're supposed to be in control of everything and like, come what may, right? In say like Rust, it does kind of feel right that you can hide stuff because it does feel like it breaks a lot of I don't know, like for example, in Rust, part of the cool thing for a mutex is that you can't access the variable without getting the lock, right? That is like part of the nice thing about it, right? And if you had all things were public, you could just grab the value, right? And then I feel like, so I don't know. I get like, I don't know. So maybe I'm just being a fence sitter and I'm not having an opinion on it. But like in C or Zig or things like that, I'm like, heck no. There's bytes there. I want to be able to get to the bytes. You need to give them to me. Like, but then in Rust, it kind of feels like, well, I'm already spending all day in the ivory tower. Like, I'm not going to let anyone else read my books. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just sitting on the fence though.
No, it's a potentially good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when I do like libraries internally at work, like we obviously expose some surface level API on like things you should use. But if you really want to get something, you can get to it, and it's not the end of the world. And if anything, you just end up it's such a waste of like mind space to try to figure out what you should and shouldn't hide. I just think it's just like a waste of time, in my opinion. Until one day I'll have the use case. Until then, if I don't have the use case, I can't really argue for them. So
I would say, like, broadly speaking, I I think there is something that getters and setters are terrible. So there's like a thing that's like that I want to make sure people understand, which is that if you're just making everything private because you were told that that was a good idea, that's a really bad programming pattern.
Yeah.
And it is a good idea to say, like, that is not right. If you have data, you need to think about, should this data be exposed? And the answer is not that it always should be hidden. The answer is that once you've figured out how a system works, some data should be exposed, and that's crucial to making the system easy to use, performant, like simple would be like not overcomplicating it. All these things are important. So there is that, and it's important to keep that in the back of your head. However, there is also the fact that when you are making an API, you do want to have some way of delineating, like, just for even for mental clarity, like, hey, here's what we're using and what we're not using on the outside, right? Like, here's what the implementation and what's not. And so I do think maybe it's a little reductive to just say that, like, private, the whole concept is bad. Because I could see there being like a thing where it's like, okay, if you did want to have these kind of dual use things where it's like, okay, I kind of have beginner mode and expert mode usage of this struct. You know, if you were a Rust programmer, like I think Tej was sort of alluding to, if you're like a Rust programmer, I would think the consistent way of approaching that language would be that structs, you know, have their or any, whatever your record class is. They don't have to be called a struct, obviously, but like whatever you're talking about there can be partitioned. And then I can say that I have to open up a particular partition in order to work with it, just like how Rust has like unsafe, right? It would that would be consistent, like in that language, to do that. And so there's that. The other thing is, I don't think it's necessarily a great idea for a language designer to just dismiss the concern that people have about how to like mark this up idiomatically. It's not a bad, even if you didn't want it to prevent access, I could see you wanting an idiomatic markup system that isn't just, I don't know, I put a comment somewhere, right? Like, so, you know, I don't really like the implementation of private in C++, me personally, but that doesn't mean I would be categorical. Like, I'd have to think about it more. Like, maybe there is a design where it's like, hey, here's the idiom for marking up what we do here. So I think there is, I'm not as anti, like some of the people were super pro-private and super anti-private. I think I'm more with Tej on the fence sitting where I'm like, there is sort of a thing here. I haven't really seen it done particularly well in a language. I don't care about it very much because I prefer to, like, when I'm going to deliver an API like that, I want to completely separate it. If there's stuff you're not supposed to see, it's not going to be in there. That's not how we're going to do it, right? But I could imagine a language which made it possible, like almost I could declare them separately. Like they are the same thing and will be fused in the struct because we need it to be on the stack or something like that, but they're declared separately so you don't even see them at all or something. Like, I don't know. I could imagine things that had this property. So I also wouldn't come down 100% on the anti side. At the end of the day, though, sorry, yeah?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I feel pulled in both directions for, like, for example, let's say you made something and originally it's like storage, it had some internal private storage variable, right? And then that was originally like a list, right? And so someone was accessing that directly and they probably shouldn't, but it was fine. They were being careful, blah, blah, blah. And then later, like next version of the API, all of the public methods are still the same, but you've changed the internal storage type from list to like, maybe now it's like a tree or something. Maybe that was better. Or like now, or like it's some sort of try or something. I don't know. Like you have some other storage thing. Like on the one hand, it sucks that your code is now broken, right? Because you used the internal thing and now it's a different thing. Maybe it has different methods. So it's like annoying to upgrade. But at the same time, it's like maybe you want it to break because you made some assumption about how it worked before and then now it doesn't, right? So like that's kind of good that it breaks, right? So then you don't want, then like it's okay that it's not private. You used the thing that you weren't supposed to. That's fine. You got to eat the upgrade cost when you upgrade again later because the assumptions changed in the internal representation. So I don't know. That makes me lean towards don't have private, especially for some of these other languages. But it feels wrong in Rust. It feels like I have to have it in Rust.
I would feel like my criticism of the pro-private people, the like strongly pro-private people who use some colorful language to describe Andrew Kelly in that thread. I would say that the pro-private people are also kind of like, they're not really paying attention to some of that, the things that they're talking about with, like you just said, like the leakage of the implementation out, and they seem to be fine with that, right? It's
Right.
like what about all of those things? It's like all you're really doing is preventing this one thing, but the rest of it, all of the other details, how big it is, all those sorts of things are leaking out, and those are all gonna change when you do this stuff, and you're fine with all of that, but just not this one, and you're so angry about it, and that did seem weird. So, I don't know. Like most things, this is a pretty specific topic, and I feel like the outrage was not necessarily warranted. If you want outrage, try installing some Node.js stuff. So I would also point out, this is like something Andrew Kelly posted in like 2021. So this is like a necro thread too. Like they're like pulling this out after 4 years to complain about it and have a little party. And I feel like Andrew's reasoning was fine. Maybe I would have liked a language designer to think a little harder about like, okay, what is it that people actually wanted out of private? And is there like a new feature we could have that's better than private that would give them what they want? Maybe I would have liked that. But at the end of the day, like the reasoning wasn't ridiculous. Like it certainly wasn't as ridiculous as people were making it out to be. And so I thought it was really some pretty pathetic tech Twitter stuff there, because it really, like, it was a totally fine decision for this language. I don't know, man. Like, and it wasn't completely flippant. Like the post by Andrew was not like, you're an idiot and private is stupid. It was like, here's some reasons why we're not doing it, and right now we would recommend you do this other thing. That's just where we're at, right? So like I don't know. So I don't get the private stands. I'm not as on the anti-private side as some of the other people, but the private stands were out of control in that thread, in my opinion.
So, Casey, you would not classify yourself as a communist in this case. Like, it is not that everybody gets the variables necessarily, but it is like, so you're kind of like, I don't know, like a democratic socialist. Where would you put yourself on the spectrum for this of like the private ownership of variables?
Well, I mean, you know the answer to that question, since I like to do as much code as possible myself. I'm a dictator. Right?
I see.
It's a dictatorship. I wrote all the code.
Authoritarian right.
I have access to all the
Respect.
variables because I wrote all the code. And the citizens only get what I allow them to get. There's no, they don't even get to touch the code. They just run the executable. So that's
Okay.
yes,
where we're at.
everythings private. I give you
I'm
the
gonna call you,
XP,
Everything's
run
private
it.
or everything's public, however you want to look at it, but it's my.
Call you Private Casey.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
All right. Well, Ryan Fleury, he did say that private variables are incredibly bad idea. You should basically never want to use them, and wanting certain things to be private is a red flag to me.
And I think
I
part
think
of
he
that
might be
too comes.
misthinking them through the lens of getters and setters too.
He said
also-
in the chat, the updated take. For what it's worth, I agree with Casey's point. I was mostly thinking of getter setters data hiding by default in my tweet, which I thought about for about 2 seconds. Ryan, if you write another tweet again for 2 seconds, we are going to be posting you and publicly shaming on the
Yeah.
stand-up, just so you know.
True.
I will say that at the limit, you just want the ability for an API to also ship verification code, basically compile time code, which can verify things about the usage code, and that could be hooked up via markup.
And I would also point out that like a lot of people's negativity towards private is very well justified. Coming like C++ is the worst possible version of this feature.
Have
right?
so
What do you
many
mean,
things.
friend?
Yeah. Mutable and friend and like they have all these things where they're like, well, here's the thing, and then we undid the thing, right? And by the way, you can't search for it, right? It's like someone just casts something, a castaway const, and then off it goes, right? And you can't figure out how many people might be touching it later. Yeah, so
Back to that. Never
yeah,
mind.
I know, right? So anyway, so I do think also that's part of it, right? Is that your experience is going to be really colored by, like those bad experiences. And so the only thing I was saying is like, I don't want to foreclose the possibility that there is a better version of private that's something else. So I don't want to say that like the ultimate language is just one where all of your variables are dangling in the breeze, right? It's not completely underwear free. Maybe there is an appropriate way to do that, but it's not what we have been doing. And so I agree with the anti-private crowd on that. I just don't know that I want to say like, no,
So
this
what-
is,
Oh,
I
so
have
what
a
we need is
question.
comrade classes, not
Comrade.
friend classes.
Comrade.
I got it. Okay, I'm following.
Well, this is in the context of a language decision, right? So Zig has an opportunity to do something new here, and they chose to not investigate that and just say
Yeah.
no. So I can see some criticism of that potentially, but it should have been more constructive criticism, not just like everyone is stupid for not having private or whatever. It's like, okay.
Casey, I have a question.
Mhm.
What does Ryan mean when he says basically compile time code, which can verify things about the usage code? What is it?
I think what he's trying to say, I might be putting words in Ryan's mouth here, but my guess is what he's trying to say is, look, if what you're concerned about is that someone is going to do something with these private variables, or variables you would have declared private, but we're saying we're not going to, right? That will violate some kind of future proofing or some kind of invariance. What we want is the ability to insert like, JAI style metaprogramming to find those things either during development. So like I have a vision in my head of here are some things I want to prevent up front, and I put those into the metaprogramming, or after the fact where it's like, oh crap, we thought this was always going to be an array, but it turned out it has to be a linked list now. We were going to make that change, and now we want our metaprogram to find all of the places where this is being used and warn the programmer and tell them to fix it, right? I
see.
imagine he's talking about one or the other of those or both. And Ryan
the
can
mutex
answer.
one could be like you can't access this variable except it after in the same scope
Exactly.
grabbing the lock. For
Exactly. Like,
example,
did you
right?
grab the lock already, right? And so private is like a poor substitute for that, which is what you actually want. And I think Ryan's probably saying that. He's saying what you actually want is static analysis for the things that you care about. And since you're not getting that from C++, instead they just gave you this private thing, which is a very blunt thing. Because what about all your implementation code? It's not being checked at all, right? And that's not great. What we would rather have is all the code is checked. Your code, their code, everybody code goes through, the actual verification that we cared about, not just private.
So I think one thing that I really like is that if everything were public and you had the functions to manipulate that and that's how things were done, is that there's often all these little use cases that you have that aren't quite as aligned with the library, and you have all the tools to go off-road when you need to go off-road. And then for the rest of them, you're like, oh, standard operation, here's the struct, go ahead and do the standard struct. And then if I need to go off-road, I have the option to. And that's why I've always been a bit more pro on the make everything public side now, is that when I'm touching, anytime I touch a property, I don't care if it's public or private, it always feels a bit weird versus when I like call a method for something. Because I know a method represents an action. It doesn't represent a concrete type. It's like, okay, get the 5th item. It doesn't matter what is this a red black tree? I don't know what it is. Just give me the 5th item, right? And so I like that more. That just feels right to me. But I understand why people want some level of privates, because at the end of the day, I still will end up using them from time to time, especially in Rust.
If you don't have anything to hide, why are you trying to make it private, Prime?
Hey, I just want my rights. All right. All right. Well, hey, that's that was the tech Twitter fight right there this week. That I don't know why so many people got so invested into private variables. I've never seen anything like that. But that was
a bit weird.
It is a little weird. Weird. All right. Well, hey, the name is TJ, Trash, Casey, and the Primogen. Thank you very much for watching the stand-up. Casey, where can people find you?
Computerenhanced.com. It's right underneath my name, maybe.
Yeah, you should. And then Trash, people don't want to find you. TJ, where can people find you?
Thanks for me.
Trash, you're an awesome actor.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to show the ads that we filmed
You
last
have
week.
no idea what we've done.
You guys are gonna be impressed, maybe.
Blown away.
At one point,
They are Trash. You crushed it.
at
Trash
one point
did great
my
acting.
nose touched Trash's nose.
I'm just gonna say it here. I don't want to. I mean, I'm just gonna say, Oscar contender.
Yes.
It could
Don't
happen.
want to jinx it, but it's possible.
I don't know if there are Oscars for ads.
looks like
I
a
know that there's
movie.
not, but
We're
let's
gonna
say
make a
there
new
were.
category.
There should be.
Yeah. All right. And then one last thing. For those that don't know, September 22nd through the 29th, we are doing a 24/7 live stream, and Casey will be featured, and Trash will be featured on that, along
I'm
with
gonna
some
be
other
Casey.
super special guests that I don't want to say the name of, but
Yep,
you
no
will know the
spoilers.
guests, and you will be stoked. All right. Thank you for watching the stand-up.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for joining me for my first stream back. My streams will just be the stand-up for a while. We'll see how it goes, if my voice can hold out, and if things go well over the course of the next couple weeks, maybe I'll start, doing some online reacts again.